Dear students, last class we discussed exchanges of gases. So what is the exchanges of gases? The gases exchanges the partial pressure, the high partial pressure to the low partial pressures. So last class we discussed exchanges of gases, external respiration and internal respiration. External and internal respirations, they depending upon the partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide. What is the partial pressure of oxygen and what is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide? Partial pressure means the mixture of gases. Partial pressure means mixture of gases, not only oxygen. So carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, so mixture of gases. So mixture of gases inhaled enter into the body, inhaled the enter into the bodies, and finally enter the lungs and reaches to the alveoli. So alveoli high partial pressure, alveoli high partial pressures. The high partial pressure of alveoli is oxygen, partial pressure of oxygen 104 and the carbon dioxide partial pressure of carbon dioxide 40. So this is the always gases exchanges the gases high partial pressure to the low partial pressures. So automatically alveoli to the diffuse the oxygen alveoli to blood. Oxygen diffuses the alveoli into the blood, get into the blood, because alveoli pressure of partial pressure of oxygen high and blood low partial pressure of oxygen. So automatically so exchange or diffuses, oxygen diffuses so alveoli into the blood. So same way the reversal transportation of the carbon dioxide. Blood is the high partial pressure of carbon dioxide, alveoli is the low pressure of carbon dioxide. So automatically blood into the diffuse into the alveoli. So carbon dioxide plus oxygen diffuses the alveoli to the blood and reaches to the tissues to the blood and reaches to the alveoli, sending out. So this is called exchanges of gases. The last class we discussed the exchanges of gases. Now let us see, we are going to discuss the transportation of gases. Transportation of gases. Transportation of gases. Let us see transportation of gases. The transportation of gases in two types. One is the oxygen transportation. Oxygen transportation. Oxygen transportation. And the second one, carbon dioxide transportations. Transportation of gases, two methods. First one, oxygen transportation. Oxygen transportations. So oxygen transport or exchanges the oxygen transportations through the plasma and RBC. Through the plasma and RBC. First one, coming to the first point, oxygen transport through the plasma. And the second one, coming to the second point, oxygen transport by the RBC. And coming to the third point, oxyhemoglobin dissociative curve. oxyhemoglobin dissociative curve. Three methods. Actually, transportation of gases, two types, oxygen transportation, second one carbon dioxide transportation. Oxygen, first one, oxygen transportation. Oxygen transportations, oxygen transport and alveoli to the tissues. Oxygen transport alveoli to the tissues through the plasma by the RBC. In the two methods, oxygen transportations, two method, plasma and RBC. The first one, coming to the first points, so we can now it see oxygen transportation through the plasma. Oxygen transport through the plasma. Oxygen transport through the plasma, only 3%. Only 3% of oxygen dissolved in plasma state in the transportation through the oxygen. Oxygen transportation through the plasma, only 3% of the oxygen. Only 3% of the oxygen dissolved in plasma water. Dissolved in plasma waters. So exchanges or transportation of blood into alveoli to the tissues, only 3%. And next remaining 97%. How much percentage? 97%. So 97% oxygen by the RBC. RBC means red blood cells or red blood corpus cells. So 97% of the oxygen through R by the RBC. RBC they containing the hemoglobin. RBC containing the hemoglobin. Hemoglobins ne ferrous molecules, the iron molecules. So iron molecules are ferrous molecule. Hemoglobin, the 4 polypeptide chains. The 4 polypeptide chains, 2 alpha chains, 2 beta chains. 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains, the 4 polypeptides. 4 polypeptides. 1 hemoglobin molecules. 1 hemoglobin molecules, the 4 polypeptide chains containing the 4 polypeptide chains. The 4 polypeptide chains, so 1 hemoglobin molecules carries the oxygen. Carries the oxygen. How many molecules carries the oxygen? Only 1 molecules of hemoglobin, 4 molecules. 4 molecules of oxygen carrying the RBC or hemoglobin. 1 molecule of hemoglobin, 4 molecules of oxygen. 4 molecules of oxygen carries the hemoglobin molecules. They transportations the alveoli and blood get into the blood and finally reaches to the tissues. Hemoglobin plus oxygen. Hemoglobin, oxygen reversible. Hemoglobin plus oxygen. Hemoglobin plus oxygen. Oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin is formation. Oxyhemoglobin. How many molecules of 1 hemoglobin molecules? How many molecules of oxygen? 4 molecules of oxygen. 4 molecules of oxygen. The formation of oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin, formation of oxyhemoglobin. Some factors, some of the factors ne favorable conditions, some factors of the conditions ne, so only oxygen, high pressure of oxygen and low pressure of carbon dioxide, the temperature, low pressure of the temperatures, the low temperature, the low density of or low pressure of carbon dioxide and high pH, the hydrogen concentration and high pressure of oxygen, the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin is formation. So oxyhemoglobin is formations ne, so 1 hemoglobin and into the 4 molecules of oxygen. 4 molecules of oxygen, the favorable conditions, oxyhemoglobin is formation. Oxyhemoglobin, how much percentage of the oxygen transportation? 97% of the oxygen. 97% of the oxygen, oxyhemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin forms the transportation with the RBC, the oxygen. So this oxyhemoglobin, in which this forms, which forms the formations depending upon the some of the conditions, the pH, the high pH, the low carbon dioxide concentration and low temperatures, the hydrogen concentrations depending upon the formation of the oxyhemoglobin is formation. When the oxyhemoglobin is formations, carries the oxygens, so they get into the blood, carries the oxygens from alveoli, get into the blood, transportation through the blood, and finally reaches to the tissues. It's the totally 97% of the oxygen transportations by the RBC. So the number of RBC containing the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin contains the 4 polypeptide chains. 4 polypeptide chains, the 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. The 2 plus 2, 4 polypeptides. 4 polypeptides means 4 molecules. One hemoglobin molecules carries the 4 molecules of oxygen. 4 molecules of oxygen transportation, 100% of saturation. 100% of saturation, or say 80% of saturation. And only 2 molecules. Only 2 molecules of oxygen transportation, only 50% of saturation. 50% of saturation in the oxyhemoglobin. And next, coming to the third point, oxyhemoglobin dissociative curve. Oxyhemoglobin dissociative curve. See the formation of oxyhemoglobin dissociative curves in between. So partial pressure of oxygen, the partial pressure of oxygen and saturated, percentage of saturated oxyhemoglobin. Percentage of saturated oxyhemoglobin, partial pressure of oxygens in between the curve is formations. This curve is called oxyhemoglobin dissociative curve. In between the relationship in between the partial pressure of oxygen and percentage of saturated oxyhemoglobin is called oxyhemoglobin dissociative curves. Y-axis, taking the y-axis, the percentage of saturated oxyhemoglobin, and taking the x-axis, the partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen taking the x-axis, and percentage of saturated oxyhemoglobin taking the y-axis. So x-axis and y-axis. So x-axis and y-axis, the formation of oxyhemoglobin dissociative curves or oxyhemoglobin is formation. How is the formation of oxyhemoglobin? The sum of the factors, favorable conditions, some of the factors depending upon the favorable condition, oxyhemoglobin is formation. When the formations, whenever the oxyhemoglobin is formations, so now we can see clearly observed. So this is the high concentration of pH, low concentration of carbon dioxide, the low temperatures and high partial pressure of oxygen. These conditions, this favorable condition formation of oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin is formation. Oxyhemoglobin, when the oxyhemoglobin, how is the formation of oxyhemoglobin? In such way, this is the conditions they come across. The following the conditions the high partial pressure of oxygen, high pressure of the pH concentration, high pH concentration and low carbon dioxide concentration and low temperatures. This condition, favorable condition, formation of oxyhemoglobin is formations. The binding, these favorable conditions, hemoglobins bind the oxygen. The favorable condition, hemoglobin bind the oxygen, the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin is formation. The next, soon after, the next dissociation. When the dissociations in the oxyhemoglobin, dissociation of the oxyhemoglobin, whenever the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin, so this is the pH, low pH concentration, hydrogen concentration, next carbon dioxide, high partial pressure of carbon dioxide, next temperature, high temperatures, so high temperature, and next low partial pressure of oxygen, low partial pressure of oxygen, low partial pressure of oxygen clearly observed, it here clearly observed this condition and this condition is quite opposites. So this is the high partial pressure of oxygen, low partial pressure of oxygen, high concentration of pH and low concentration of pH. Next it's a low carbon dioxide is low concentration, high concentration of carbon dioxide, and next the low temperature and high temperatures, they are quietly opposite, quietly opposite. These conditions, favorable conditions, the formation of oxyhemoglobin. This condition, these reasons, so oxyhemoglobin they break down. Oxyhemoglobin breakdowns hemoglobins dissociate to oxygen, dissociate to the oxygen. Oxyhemoglobins, whenever the oxyhemoglobin is formation, immediately these conditions, this unfavorable condition, the low partial pressure of oxygen, low pH, high carbon dioxide, high temperatures and high hydrogen concentration, so break down the oxyhemoglobin, hemoglobin plus oxygen. These conditions they dissociate to the curves, dissociation of curves, they fall down the right side fall down, right side the fall down, the slowly the right side the fall down, fall the dissociative curves ne downfall the right side, since the name is called dissociative curves. They actually straight formation of the curves. Whenever the unfavorable conditions, the low partial pressure of oxygen, the low pH, and the high concentration of the carbon dioxide and the high temperatures, the slowly then downfalls the slowly downfall the curves, hence the name is called dissociative curves. The right side, the right sides in the y-axis, the angles the y-axis, angle the y-axis, downfall the right sides, dissociative curves is formation, hence the name is called oxyhemoglobin dissociative curves. And the Bohr effect, what is the Bohr effect? Bohr effect means high concentration, high partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions, high partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ions, effect on the oxygen, affinities, oxygen affinity to the hemoglobin is called Bohr effect. High partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions, so hydrogen ions affect the oxygen, affinities to the hemoglobin is called Bohr effect. This is the regarding the transportation of gases. First one, oxygen transportation, such a two methods, such a way two methods, the oxygen transportation through the plasma, oxygen transportation by the RBC, next oxyhemoglobin dissociative curves, the detailed explain in this class. Next class, next sessions ne transportation of gases, next carbon dioxide transportation.